Yo, what's going on everybody? It's your boy Naruto Explain here, bringing you guys another Boruto 2 Blue Vortex discussion. Today, I want to talk to you guys about why the latest manga chapter might have introduced a rather big moment for Jura's character, and that there's a weakness that has presented itself to the character that ironically makes Jura even more dangerous than he already was. Join me in today's newest Naruto Explain video where we take a look at how the story has set up a pretty big weakness for Jura's character. As a quick reminder, the chapter review is up on the channel, and I'll leave it in the end credits and the description box for those of you guys who have not seen it. Also, if you're into One Piece, don't forget to check out my Gomo Gomo no Mi video on my One Piece channel, which this isn't a podcast style video like the blind reviews. This one has editing that I think you guys will enjoy. So with that being said, let's jump into the topic of today's video. So Jura's fear of love in Boruto 2 Blue Vortex, it is without a shadow of a doubt a major weakness that could ultimately unravel all of his goals. However, it also presents an opportunity for him to become even stronger if he does succeed in eradicating love from his Shinju army if they are indeed connected. Now, we're going to break down all this through multiple lenses, including Buddhist and Shinto themes. So Jura's connection to the other Shinju is where we have to start. Jura, as the humanoid version of the Ten Tails, not modeled from anyone else's chakra like the other Shinju like Matsuri and Hidari, who are made from Moegi and Sasuke's chakra respectively. Jura is basically the Ten Tails, who is created from Code's Karma Seal, which was imbued with Ishiki's essence. Despite all of this, Jura appears to be connected to all the other Shinju in ways that allows him to feel their emotions. The fact that Jura is shown shedding tears while witnessing Konohamaru and Matsuri's battle suggests that he experiences emotions through these other Shinju clones, perhaps as an extension of himself. That might be why when Hidari was giving him side eyes when Hidari first awakened, that might be why Jura paused for a second. He sensed something in Hidari. Now, this is why all of this is basically a weakness. If Jura truly shares a link with his Shinju arm, then their emotional instability, it will affect him. When Matsuri hesitated due to her connection to Konohamaru, Jura not only observed the moment, but he seemed to experience a emotional reaction. That suggests that love, an emotion that he does not understand, but an emotion that he wants to get rid of because he calls it a danger to the Shinju, it might be something that can indirectly influence him through his subordinates, which is why he was shown doing all of that reading. He saw a weakness and was trying to come up with a solution to go against it, which is very in character for his character. Then when you look at why he wants to purge love, it gets even crazier. By forcing the Shinju clones to devour their targets, Jura might be attempting to sever all emotional ties between them and their human origins. If the clones consume those who they are connected to, they will no longer have lingering human emotions that could make them hesitate or rebel. This suggests that Jura is not merely eliminating emotions amongst his soldiers, he's trying to purify himself through them. Now, the other thing we have to look at here is that Jura also sees love as a threat to the chakra fruit, something that Jura himself has said that he is very much interested in. Jura's ultimate goal is to harvest a chakra fruit, which requires the complete subjugation of life on Earth. Love, however, represents something unpredictable. It drives people to protect each other, to fight back against overwhelming odds, and to resist even when logic dictates that they surrender. Perfect example being how in the manga, Hinata sees Naruto getting beaten up and she says, wait a second, that's my future husband. She rushes out there in pain in the span of one panel, takes Hinata out. That stuff where she's able to tag pain, that's anime only. I say that to say this, that's a perfect example of love being an irrational emotion that dictates actions that are irrational, because when it comes to love, love is everything except for logic. This is why Jura might fear love for several reasons. Love weakens killing intent. Konohamaru is a perfect example of this. He missed this opportunity to kill Matsuri because of his love for Moegi. Jura might see this as a warning sign that love has the power to interfere with his soldiers' effectiveness. Love also creates attachments. The Shinju army is meant to be an extension of Jura's will, but their emotional ties to their origins, like Moegi's love transferring to Matsuri and affecting Matsuri's actions, it creates variables that Jura himself cannot control. Love is also an emotion that spurs resistance. Humans who love deeply, they will fight harder, making it more difficult for Jura to harvest a chakra fruit. A world without love means less resistance, and that's what he's trying to create in the form of those Shinju. Make them devoid of love. That way he has a clearer path to what it is he's trying to accomplish, which, as he said himself, he wants the chakra fruit. He does not want to give it to Code. Nobody in their right mind thinks this is what will happen. Code captures Boruto or Kawaki, feeds him to the Ten Tails, and then Jura says, "Sure thing, Code, I'm gonna honor our agreement." Jura is written as saying he wants the chakra fruit for himself for a reason. By purging love from his forces, Jura is basically ensuring that nothing can stand in the way of that ultimate goal of his. Then it gets even deeper when you go into the Buddhism and Shintoism. So Jura's quest for purification, Jura's attempt to purge love aligns with Buddhist and Shinto ideals about purification and detachment. The Buddhist influence is where we have to start, which is the eradication of desire itself. So in Buddhism, attachment, most importantly love, is seen as one of the causes of suffering, dukkha, which is the path to enlightenment involving detachment from worldly desires and emotions to achieve a higher state of existence. However, love, especially compassionate love, is also considered to be a virtue. And now you should start seeing where Jura and these awakened Shinju and the people that they're modeled after, where there is a bit of a conflict, because Jura is trying to reach enlightenment, and yet these Shinju have weaknesses that are forming as attachments that are being anchored by the people they're made from. Jura's interpretation of all of this is basically this: instead of detaching from love through wisdom, like somebody who is seeking enlightenment in Buddhism would do, Jura is seeking to eradicate it by force, ensuring that neither he nor his army experience the emotional pull that could compromise their mission. This goes directly against everything that you would be taught in a Buddhist lifestyle. And as we talk about numerous times on the channel, Naruto as a franchise, including Boruto, borrows very heavily from these concepts. The whole concept of yin and yang that you see constantly throughout Naruto, something that the anime repeatedly referred to as being light and shadows, love and hate, things of that nature, this is where that comes from, and it's the same thing. There's also a parallel to Mara, the demon of temptation. So in Buddhist lore, Mara is a being who tries to lead the Buddha astray by tempting him with attachments and emotions. Jura's struggle with love mirrors Mara's perception of emotions as distractions from the ultimate goal. In Jura's case, it's harvesting a chakra fruit for himself because he is curious, what does that chakra fruit do if someone like me eats it? Then you get into the Shinto influence. So this is where we start looking at the purification from impurities. Shintoism emphasizes purification, removing spiritual pollution in order to maintain balance. Jura, in his view, love could only be seen as an impurity that must be purged. This is where we get a parallel to kagure, which is the whole idea of defilement. So in Shinto, emotional disturbances, attachments, and unfulfilled desires, they lead to defilement, a spiritual pollution, if you will. Jura might see love as a form of defilement that must be cleansed so that he can fully embody his divine predatory purpose. Then you get into the whole concept of the yomi and the purification of the unclean. So in some of the Japanese stories, Izanagi undergoes purification, a ritual, after escaping from the yomi, which is the underworld. This reflects the idea that negative influences must be washed away. Jura's attempt to force the Shinju to consume their connections could be seen as a twisted form of purification, removing human weaknesses from his kind. If Jura does succeed, we have to look at how this makes him even more formidable than he is. So if Jura successfully forces the Shinju to purge their emotions, he will eliminate what could have been his biggest weakness. It's a completely emotionless Shinju army that he's trying to create. The Shinju clones will no longer have any hesitation, doubt, or attachments making them relentless killing machines. Jura's own evolution, if Jura is someone who has a connection to the Shinju, if it means that he too is affected by emotions, removing love from his army might also purge it from himself. This would make him a perfect inhuman entity, one that operates solely on logic and instinct. It would also make him the ultimate predator, someone who has no emotional vulnerabilities. Jura would embody the perfect representation of an Otsutsuki-like being, even though he himself is not an Otsutsuki. He would be a creature with a singular purpose, to consume and to evolve, free from all moral and emotional constraints. And it makes his whole character that much more interesting, given that he is the human version of the Ten Tails, and the Ten Tails was supposed to be a mindless beast that only existed to consume chakra, and yet here Jura is a sentient being. So in conclusion, I'll say this: I think one of the things we're seeing here with Jura is he has a misinterpretation of love's power, and because he's misinterpreted it, he's basically feared it. While Jura does seek to eliminate love, his actions may ironically prove why love is such a powerful force. This is what makes Boruto's journey and Sarada's journey two characters who are ridden with that theme of love, and two characters who are part of the story that we have now in this Hidden Sand Village arc. The underlying theme of this arc has been rooted in love writing. That's why all of this is going on. Jura's actions are proving that love is a powerful force that isn't a weakness. He fears it because he does not understand it, because he is not human. He has thought process like human, he has curiosity like human, but he does not have a human heart. Therefore, something like this scares the shit out of him. In Buddhist teachings, true wisdom, it comes from not rejecting emotions, but understanding and transcending them. If Jura removes love, he might remove his greatest weakness, but he will also blind himself to an even greater truth, which makes this defeat, whenever it happens, that much more interesting because of what that signifies, especially if it's Boruto and Kawaki, two people who are also ridden with the themes of love, teaming up to take him down. He will not understand where that power came from both of those characters. If love is capable of making people stronger, what happens when Jura's enemies, they harness it to their full potential? So far, the only thing he's seen with this emotion is how love makes people do irrational things, but he has not seen how love makes people push through their limits. He's gotten close to figuring that out, as he saw with Himawari, but with Himawari, she was tapping into Kurama's power. She had her rage amp, and yet at the same time, he had a logical explanation for it. Yet when it comes to the matters of the heart, when it comes to the matters of love, again, it's everything except for logical. This sets up a potential turning point in the story. Jura crying holds a much bigger, more significant payoff than you guys realize is being set up. Will love, the very thing that Jura fears, become the key to his downfall? We don't know now, but it is something we do have to keep our eyes on moving forward. Obviously, if you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing and checking out the chapter review here on the left. Click here up top for my latest video from my One Piece channel, or click here on the right for this video from my Anime Explained channel, where I talk about non-Naruto content.